You ready to rock today, Walls?
I am ready
What
to
are we
rock.
talking about?
We're going to talk about why most investors plateau after 5 properties.
That is a good topic. Who thought of that?
I did.
Nice. I think because once you get to like that, I would say 10, your risk goes down so much. So it's really hard to get to that 5 or 10. But then once you do, 1 vacancy, even 2 is not going to cripple you. 2 vacancies when you have 3 rentals is going to cripple you.
I don't think that 5 is a hard and fast number. I think it's somewhere between 5
But
and 10.
5's a good
like
number.
You said. Yeah, in that single digits. And most people get that single digits. And the sad thing is they not only do they stop, but they probably end up selling them all as well at some point in the near future.
And probably not maximize it either because they're probably just done with it. They're just
Exactly.
So did you know that we have 3 podcasts dropping a week now?
Let's go.
Monday, we got REI only. I do 10 minutes on one topic of real estate, not all this fun banter, but it's just super focused. Wednesday, we do this, have fun, say weird stuff. I make fun of you a little bit, and it's just what it is. And then Friday, new segment that you'll probably be involved in eventually is the behind the scenes. I've breaking down each of our businesses, like talk about who they are, how it's structured, what kind of is going on behind the scenes. I'm going to just dig into specific topics of those businesses, struggles, the good, the bad, the ugly, profit, personnel issues. Obviously, I won't use anybody's names, but it's like really behind the scenes of what it's like to run a small business. So trying to cover real estate, small business, and then just fun. How does that sound?
I love it. You got real estate, life and fun, and then business.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
So we're doing that all be on YouTube, by the way, as well. All these are going to be starting to go on YouTube. So
let's go.
That's what I got for you, Lucas. Kick this thing off, son.
All right, Sam, did you know, that's how you start usually, that 80% of investors, 80% never get past 5 doors?
That honestly does not, I did not know that, but that does not surprise me. That sounds, I would have guessed probably that because it's really tough. I see a lot of people, especially that don't get like mentorships, really struggle to get to 2 or 3.
Heck yeah. So in this episode, we're going to be breaking down the most common reasons.
Oh, you didn't really want to answer from me. That was more rhetorical.
It was rhetorical. Okay, well, we'll get to the answers.
Okay,
Sam.
fine.
But the common reasons investors hit that wall and how to scale with confidence and not chaos.
Ooh, this sounds like it's got some alliteration in it.
I love it. So in the first segment, we're going to talk about why do you think that 5 properties is the wall for people, right? So let's get that kicked off. So let's talk about when we first got started, and when anybody first gets started, there's excitement, there's buzz, there's the sexiness of real estate.
Like curves. I love curves.
Without having to deal with the shit that real estate can provide. So you don't even know that's a thing.
Yeah, you just think all this. It's like kind of like that either honeymoon phase or first couple of date phase where it's just like everything's great. You don't see the flaws, don't see the issues yet. So I could see that. It's one of those 3 B's that you love.
Brick houses.
Beer. Boobs.
Butts.
And butts. So 4 B's. But anyways, the brick houses was there is what I was saying, the excitement of it.
Yeah, man, it's so exciting hunting that first deal and getting your hands on that first rehab project and then finding a tenant. Like everything's new.
And it's so fun, and the issues aren't issues because you have momentum and you're excited.
Yep. And then you build up like one property and then you go do it again and it's still kind of fun. And then you go do it again and you got 2 tenants and now your AC goes out. Now you got a basement flood and now you're dealing with property management issues and now the 3rd rehab went 20 grand over budget and you can't refinance.
And your time is limited because you probably have a job and kids, and it's starting to dig into that a little bit.
Yep, absolutely. And when you first get started, or at least most people, and this was a huge benefit for us, we talk about it a lot, but we had another job. We had a good W-2 job, so it was super easy to get financing because we used both of our incomes, and we could get short-term loans really easy. We can be credible to private lenders, and then also the long-term financing. After you refinance these rental properties, we're easy to get those loans too. So that's all at the beginning. It's good. It's gravy. Yeah,
and depending on what lender you use, because some of them look at that, your debt to income ratio is still pretty solid because you don't have a ton of debt yet, probably, if you're doing this the right way. So after if they do account for that, and it's less asset based lending and more borrower based lending, Lucas, 2 or 3 properties, you start to there's cracks in your DTI and things like that. You're maybe a little less lendable.
So when 5 to 10 properties, let's just call it single digits.
Okay.
There's a lot of challenges you're going to face there. You mentioned one of them. You have 6 properties and 2 go vacant, you're at 33% vacancy.
That's not
good. That's not a good model for a business. You're not going to be able to cash flow. So if you have 20, let's say, and 2 of them go vacant, you still got 90%, and you can still cash flow with 2 of them vacant. So, but as you build and as you have 5, 6, 7, that realm, you're gonna have not only construction issues but financing issues, but also you're gonna have to figure out how to manage these things. And that's where we'll dig into some of our challenges. But that was so new to us. It's a whole completely separate business. Scaling a portfolio is very different than managing your tenants and screening your tenants and finding
different
quality
skill
tenants.
set, different time
Different
set.
business for us. So I think those challenges start to creep up as you get around that 5 number.
And you're still not seeing the benefits yet, most likely.
Yes.
If you're doing single digits, probably within a 5-year time frame, maybe 4 years. So pretty aggressively, but nothing crazy, buying 2-3 year. A few years in, you're not going to see the tax benefits are the biggest thing you'll see. You're not going to see cash flow benefits.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a ton of net worth benefits. Just hasn't got enough time, and you haven't done enough deals. The way to get net worth and to really, really make an impact on that to grow substantially is volume and time, and you haven't had done either yet. So, we were dumb. Well, we are dumb, but we tried to replace your income with rentals.
Yeah.
Using none of our own money.
Yeah.
We're like, let's do it.
Let's do it.
It didn't work.
Didn't work.
So I think even if you do this and cash flow a crap ton per door, $300, $400, $500, it's still again, it's not going to be enough, and you shouldn't live off it until you are sustainable and getting other income. So kind of long-winded answer, but the cash flow doesn't, like you have here, the cash flow and the equity for that doesn't feel like freedom yet.
No, it's not substantial enough to do anything. It doesn't even feel like a business. And then you mentioned time earlier, and I'm going to tie it into the property management and construction. It sucks pretty much the majority of your time when you have 5, 6, 7, 8 houses, right? And then you get to a point where you can't even grow the business anymore. You don't have time to go look at new deals and make connections with people that might be able to bring you deals and actually do the things that you love that got you into it. You're stuck running the day-to-day and swinging the hammer and dealing with tenant issues. So that's another big reason I think 5 properties are around that is the wall.
I like it. Yeah. So what are some, I guess, the real reasons why investors saw us? So I guess this is a little bit more mental side of things. We're talking like practical numbers and cash flow and net worth and things like that. What about some more mental strategic things?
It all comes back to mindset, right?
That's what I've been telling you for freaking 6 years now. You finally listen.
So you got to have the right mindset going into it, and I bet 80% of the people don't, and that's why they fail, right?
Yes.
I
bet more than 80%. Not to interrupt you. I bet there's some that succeed, like my dumbass for a while, where you don't have the mindset, you just outwork it. So I bet 95% don't have the right mindset. The 10 or 50% just outwork it, and then they hit the wall like we did. But anyways, I agree with you.
I would say our wall wasn't at 5. Or
no,
10,
our
exactly.
wall was because we're not.
I know what you're saying there, but so you're still thinking like a small investor, still thinking you got to do everything yourself, and you run out of time. So I think that's one of the main reasons for sure.
You don't treat it as a small business yet,
Right.
which is good. And I tell a lot of our students that yes, get an LLC set up right away, because hopefully it'll help with the mental side of you're not just doing something you're a small business owner. You're going to have a logo. You're going to have a bank, a separate bank account. You're going to create a business cards if people do that anymore. So yes, treating it as a small business and not just a side hustle. You have small investor, but treating it as a small business and not a side hustle, I think, is one way to get through this mental grind, but I think it's hard for people to do.
Yep, and the next two come down to time to me is not tracking KPIs or systemizing your processes and procedures. Construction and property management is a very systems-driven business. It's the same thing over and over again, and if you don't have a system for that to follow, you're going to go off the rails a lot, and it's going to take a lot of effort and energy and time to get you back on the rails. And when you're spending time managing your tenants and swinging a hammer, you don't have time to systemize everything. You're working in the business and not on the business, making it more efficient.
And even where we're at, I catch myself quite often working in the business, not on the business. So it's not something that is easily overcome, and it comes in waves. But at this point, you're probably never working on the business.
Yeah, and you got to realize where your superpowers are and not...
Mine are my biceps.
Well, I would say when you're working on the business, you are working on creating content, which drives eyeballs, which drives revenue for the company, which is great. That there's nothing wrong with that. But if your superpower is networking, finding deals, and you're managing construction, that's not good. You're going to get burnt out. You're going to not be good at rehabbing those projects. But maybe you are more systems process person, and you aren't great at finding deals. So you systemize that part, and then you live in the project management, property management side of things.
Yeah, and I think the one way is to be disciplined, and systemize or focus on the things that you're not good at or don't like to do. The other way is kind of like to partner and kind of do what we did. I don't know if that's on here a little bit further, but
I'd say that's the last one.
Yep,
maybe.
perfect. Yeah.
Sorry.
I threw it away. Is that the last one that I threw out?
Yeah, well, the last one is
I made it, by the way.
Reasons why investors stall out is you're scared to delegate.
Yes.
On the mindset side of things.
Scared, I think, is a unique but accurate word for that. It is scary to give someone else certain tasks, just not knowing that they're going to be done well. And you probably do most of them better because you understand the business, but there's that inflection point to where they are probably eventually better than you at it because they focus on, or maybe it's up their skill set.
And you can delegate without having to hire someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could hire a third-party vendor. Like maybe you're not great at property management, but you're afraid to give up $100 a month.
And if you're in St. Louis, where do you go?
Right, Midwest Property Group.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll manage it so you can worry about scaling your portfolio. So the property management's a big one. I feel people get stuck in managing and then they can't scale as fast. Construction's a big one. Maybe they don't hire a general contractor that can perform all of the tasks and organize the project for you. They just try to be the general themselves,
Which is probably pretty common.
And then on the back side of things, maybe someone doesn't want to delegate the deal finding and they want to run the marketing and the lead generation and be direct to seller, when really you could build a very quality rental portfolio by buying from wholesalers. Maybe you'll give up a little bit of that discount up front, $10,000 assignment fee, but if you look at that as, man, all this time that I'm saving and it's still a good deal, and maybe it's not a triple but it's a single at least, and I'm able to grow, that's a great place to delegate as well.
I love it. Awesome.
So on the emotional side, some reasons investors stall out, Sam.
I mean, just in general, it's a lot of work and you're not efficient, and it's very human naturistic, that's not a word in my opinion, that you are going to burn yourself out because you're just working at both ends of the candle. You got probably a family, maybe not, kids, maybe not, but definitely probably a job, and you like to have fun and you like to do a lot of things, and this real estate thing that hasn't quite given you the full benefits yet is pulling at your time, and it's like, well, why am I doing this if I'm not cash flowing? I quit my job. So 100%. The burnout is real.
Yeah, I would say there's two main reasons for burnout. Number one, it's harder than you thought it was going to be.
Yep.
And number two, there's zero financial benefits at this point. You talked about that. You don't see the cash flow. You don't see the equity compound over time like you thought you would.
For sure. And then you start to potentially see the risks that are involved here as you're stacking on debt and you're not seeing. So you're like, maybe I want to not. This was never our issue, good and bad, the risk aversion side.
Yeah, maybe a project went wrong, and now you're soured and think every project's going to go
and I had to lift you up off the mat.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe every project's going to go over budget, or maybe you got one bad tenant and you think that's all tenants going to be like that. So that's definitely a thing for sure. And then you just get exhausted. Decision fatigue, we call it, from managing every decision, from the management to the deal sourcing to the construction to the lining up the financing to closing the deal. Like that's a lot of hats to wear, and we have people for every portion of that now, and so we can just focus on what we do best, and that's growing the business.
Well, so how do you break through that plateau?
The plateau?
Another shoulder thing. Keep going.
Yeah, Sam's got terrible rotator cuffs these days, so he's trying to come up with shoulder exercises.
No, I used to do these back when my shoulder was hurt a couple years ago, and it worked. I just stopped doing them, but I did your exercise this morning a little bit, Walls, but I'm just kind of helping.
Yep. All right.
And it looks cool too.
So how do we break through that? So number one, let's talk about leverage. And first, we're going to talk about leveraging other people's time. So we talked about like the third-party options where you can outsource management, outsource construction, outsource deal finding even. But maybe there's a point where, hey, it makes sense to bring on some help, like a hire of some sort, 1099 or whatever. And those people, for us, it was a property manager / office manager is what we call it. I think we did it around 20 properties,
Okay.
I think. So we did it pretty early. And what we did was just got super creative on what we could pay this person and based it off of a percentage of rent that they collected, and they wanted part-time work, and it was perfect. And we still had control over the property management to some degree.
Yeah, so we hired it out third party right away, then we brought it back in-house, and then we hired in-house. So yeah, it's one of those things where you have to just bring someone in. There's no like path to it, in my opinion. A lot of people ask me, what's the first hire you make? And it's usually project or property management, but it's not always. But the best way to look at it, I feel like, is just whatever you're pulling your hair out doing, which you did aggressively.
Yeah.
That's what you hire, whether it's deal flow, driving you crazy, got everything else. Well, then hire that part out, or if it's a bookkeeping, or if it's project management, just whatever you're wearing all these hats, whatever hat seems to continually fall, you just hire that part out. So it's kind of customized, but there are like generally like 5 main things that I feel like most people hire at first.
Yeah, I like that office manager role because when you're this small, you can't be super specialized. You're going to have someone that does multiple things. And I like that kind of blend of office management type role. They can do some property management. They can cut checks. They could probably do some bookkeeping for you as well. And that could be a person that is in person, or it can be a virtual assistant. There's great virtual assistants out there that run a lot of this for you too. That are a lot cheaper, obviously, than a stateside in-person person.
I agree. And the next one's my specialty.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good one. Yes. You're trying to buy back your time, right? Leverage systems to get more efficient.
That's what I bring to the table is systems and processes.
And I think processes are amazing and great, but I would take it just one step further is find a software that runs your systems for you. So whether that's a CRM for deal flow, whether it's a property management software that can run all your leasing and applications and tenant ledgers and all that for you, to pay a couple $100 a month for something like that is going to be well worth your time.
Yep, 100%. So just creating systems in general, it's the S of the BRRRR method that we kind of have tweaked, and it's just you create systems around every step. It just allows for that scalability. So I just quickly with the BRRRRs, it's like you create systems around attracting properties, you'll be able to do more. You create systems around rehabbing, you'll be able to do more. So if you just systemize, you're just efficientizing, which I think is a word.
Yeah, you're just making up all types of words.
I think efficientizing is a word, no?
Do you? I
don't. Well, Brendan, I'm kidding, he's not here down here. So you're just creating efficiencies, and naturally efficiencies create scalability and just more.
Yeah, that was good. I had something there, but I forget.
Turbulence gotcha.
Turbulence got me. That's all right. All right. Next step is leveraging other people's money, and we talk about this all the time. As a lot of people get started, they put money down in their properties. They don't know how to find off-market deals, so they need to buy turnkey stuff and put 25% down. So you're going to run out of money doing that, and you're going to hit that wall that we're talking about. So learn to get creative with other people's money on the short-term side, and then have excellent long-term financing partners that allow you to cash flow on the back end is extremely important.
Yeah, and this is a good time to FasterFreedom Capital, a plug for that.
Yep.
That's what this episode is brought to you by. We don't have sponsors for this. We don't want to take someone else's money to, push something to you. But we do have in-house, funding, so we can do your short-term funding. We have a good product for fix and flip loans. We have a product for gap funding, and we have a product for long-term DSCR loans. So, anyways, we have that in-house. Kind of a little mini plug for that. They are the sponsor of this podcast. But yeah, having multiple funding options, I think, is the key thing, Lucas. Here you want multiple short-term funding options and multiple long-term funding options. I just went live inside of our community Facebook group, and just like you need 3 or 4 private lenders, 2 or 3 hard money lenders, some gap options, line of credit or gap funding, and then a couple of different long-term funders. If you really want to grow this thing to do a handful or more a year, you're not going to do it with one private lender, one bank, probably. Maybe you are, but probably not.
Yep, probably not. And I think that's the best way to do it. That's how we've done it, but there's also so many creative ways as well. Strategic partnerships. Maybe you're the boots on the ground. You got a money guy that maybe you have to split 50% of the equity, but you can build a portfolio with this person and you trust them. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
We have a lot of students that do that, by the way.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. So get creative with it for sure.
Awesome. All right. So how can you kind of be a little bit more strategic and clear with this wall?
Yeah. So last way to break through is you just got to really get clear on what you want, both on a vision side. first of all, start with why. Simon Sinek, like, why do you want to grow to X amount? You know, what is that going to look like? What is your life going to look like? And really get clear on that why. And maybe once you get clear on that why, your goals will change a little bit.
They could.
It could get bigger. It could get a little smaller. So if your goal is build up an incredible net worth that you can access later in the future, you're not too worried about cash flow right now, that's fine. You can build that strategically. If your goal is cash flow and you want to retire off that cash flow, then you got to build your portfolio a little different than just doing the Burr method as many times as you can, right? So get super clear on that, and then that'll kind of define your buy box. Step one, like, what properties do I need to buy to achieve my long-term goals?
Yeah, I think this is something that I remember at first. We both were looking for properties, but going to network events and talking with people, this is one of the mistakes, small ones, that we made was, if somebody says, what are you looking for? And just say, I'm looking for anything. I'm just looking for deals. They're not going to remember you, is the vast majority of the response. The other thing they do, which is probably worse, is they just send you their crap if they don't know what you're looking for. So you don't need to get crazy, like, detailed. But if you can do, like, generally our buy box is a little bit different depending on what company we're talking about. But, you know, for rentals, our buy box is generally within 30 minutes of the office, a house with 150 to 300K ARV that was built in 1960 or later, that, you know, has at least 3 bedrooms. Like that. We have others outside of that, but that's 90%, maybe 80% of our portfolio. So having that and telling someone that, they'll remember that and they'll bring you those deals, as opposed to just, I'll buy anything. When I said that, we were getting stuff in Jeff City, you know, way down south, stuff that was needed 150 grand worth of work, and we've done 2 projects. So getting a little bit tighter with that is just going to allow you to be a little more efficient.
Yeah,
efficient size.
Forget what that theory is called. Maybe you know it, but it's like an example would be, well, first of all, like, get clear on what you want, and then it starts showing up. So if
the red car theory.
Exactly. So I go to tell you, Sam, go find me a car or whatever. I'm super general, like, yeah, there's cars everywhere. But if I tell you, Sam, I want you to look for a red Miata. A red
Mazda Miata.
And I bet you start seeing red Miatas.
You wouldn't even fit in a Miata.
No, I wouldn't.
No, you'd be like,
My head
your nipples would be like the
Don't
top of the
flip,
windshield.
because it'll cut off my head.
Correct.
Yep. Cool. Choose a market and stick to it. You know, I think people in St. Louis are super lucky because this is a great market to invest in. But people are around the country listen to this, and there's a lot of people can't invest in their backyard just because the rental numbers do not make sense at all. So they look to invest remotely. And I think, you know, I've seen, and a lot of people talk about this. Grant Cardone talks about, you know, single families not being a good investment. Rod Khleif talks about it as well.
So does Blackstone.
Yeah, well, to me, it's because when they did it, they had, you know, one house in this city, one house in this city, 3 houses here, 4 houses here, all across the country. So I think you need to get really good at one market, go deep, and have as many.
You've never done that before.
And have as much market knowledge of that market as you can, and then you can kind of it's kind of like a little multifamily. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be right next door to each other, but if they are in a general market or sub market and they're all close to each other, then you can have boots on the ground manage it. It's a lot easier to control.
Yeah, I was kidding with by the way, the Blackstone thing. Blackstone is, I don't know, I would guess bought as much or more single families than anything else than multifamilies. But in general, I agree with you. I tell most of our students, and I'm just trying to relate this to them a little bit because they're who I talk to all the time. Like the students that live in like a market like St. Louis, we can do everything. I say go deep, which I always say Luke's never done there. But some people that live in markets that maybe aren't as good for what they want to do, I always tell people, at first, at least, maybe always, it's okay, I think, to have 2 markets. Like if you're in California, LA, like Julio, you do your flips out there and then buy rentals in one market. So I think if you're doing a certain strategy in your market, that's fine. But you can pick one other market that maybe is better for a different strategy. But don't do 3 or 4 markets, especially at first. Imagine having one in St. Louis, one in Kansas City, one in Oklahoma City, and then living in California. That sounds like a nightmare to me.
And to continue on that same thought process is. As you build a portfolio and make these connections, you're going to have so many different opportunities. And we call it staying away from shiny object syndrome. The times where Sam and I got in trouble were the times that we
Drank
strayed
too
away
much.
from that too. And then probably while we were drinking, straight away from our bread and butter. And we're really good at acquiring and renovating and managing single families, and also pretty good at small to mid-sized multifamilies. But then a storage unit comes our way, and we're like, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Office building comes our way.
Boutique
yeah, we can
hotel
do
comes
that.
our way.
A boutique hotel comes our resort comes our way.
By the way, we
can
bought
do that.
all of those things.
Yeah, these are things we did, and it slowed our growth because it sucks so much resources.
Still kind of is.
Yeah, sucks so much resources, time, and energy that looking back, I wish we never would have bought them.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's sometimes you got to make those mistakes to realize it's a mistake. So, but for you guys listening, like the deeper you can go on one thing, whether it's a market or an asset type class, the better for sure.
Yeah. So what we're focused on going forward is single families and small multis. The couple small multis we bought, Lucas, in my opinion, that haven't worked out super well so far. It's a culmination of things, mostly our fault. But I mean, there's thousands of people that got caught up in that and so that was part of it. But because the first 3 multifamilies we did were just home freaking runs, so we still own to this day, and they're cash flowing. So cool, awesome. Give them the quote, Lucas. Let's go. Lucas, like original quote, dab.
You're not building a hobby, you're building a machine. Start acting like a CEO.
I like it.
Same thing, like it's a business, not a hobby.
Yep. Yeah. Real quick, two things, one for later. One, you know that You Should Know podcast, those guys are super funny.
Who are those guys?
The guys that I think they did the drafts for a while. They're both big dudes. They're one of them's like lighter skin, the other one's like, they're both like 6'7". They're both huge, by the way. They were just doing a podcast, and they're touring now, which is really cool. They're like going to cities and doing shows. He said he was talking about showering, and he's like, every woman I've ever showered with is like scalding hot water. And you have scalding hot water.
I don't. Ashley's water is
so Courtney's the
hot.
same way. So why did they do that?
I don't know.
Okay. What made me think of that?
No idea. That's a weird one.
Why did I think of that? Something.
About your water temperature? I'm not sure.
Okay, let's keep moving on. That was some good turbulence.
All right, so we're going to kind of share some of our own stories on how we were able, or when the wall hit for us, and how we were able to kind of push through. So,
I like that.
So when do you think our wall was, Sam, for us?
And this isn't necessarily a brag. I'm definitely not trying to feel that way. I mean, our biggest wall, I feel like, was like a couple years ago. I feel like we didn't have a massive wall for a while because we just kept going, and we had jobs, and we kept pushing. I mean, we
had other income and didn't care.
Yeah, and I mean, from 2018 to 2022, we bought like $35 million in real estate. So where's your wall there? I mean, not that we should have done all that.
Yeah, and if it didn't cash flow 1 month, we would just cover it with our other businesses. Like we didn't even understand. So
we didn't even see that. Yeah.
So
what would you say? I guess what would you say?
Yeah, I guess it's less important when it was, but like kind of some things that we did. How about that?
I mean, the biggest one I could think of is about a year and a half ago, we got a little more serious with our financials and accounting, and brought Danny in, and he was like, you guys are losing like $150,000 a month in this business doing this because you guys have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, we had no idea what we're doing. We didn't know our numbers, so we started implementing KPIs. So I love
what are KPIs?
Key performance indicators.
Yep.
And so certain metrics within our business that we are able to track and understand if we're performing well or not performing well, and if we're not, then we know how to change it. But you got to have the data to do it, and it comes with, you're going to have to have either a really good property management software and or like some sort of bookkeeping software to understand your financials and what's going on, where's your money going.
Did we ever have that for a while?
No.
I remember. I think it was like May or June of 2018, we were going back and looking at January statements in our banks of 2017 and just hundreds of line items of stuff. We had no idea what it was.
So in order to have
we
good
had
PIs,
probably 10 million real estate at that time.
Yeah. In order to have good PIs, you need KPIs, you need to have good books.
Yes.
And then you can kind of come up with your KPIs with those for sure. So that was a huge turning point for us, which was great. Kind of opened our eyes for sure. And then we were able to add some key team members and delegate and free up our time. We have people that go out and buy houses, rentals for us now. We have people that manage the contract to close process for us now. We have a robust property management team that nails our property management every single month. And now we have the financial help as well to help with refinances and lining up the funding and understanding our KPIs.
And just accurate KPIs that are more up to date than 18 months prior.
Yeah.
It's nice to make financial decisions based on knowing our numbers are pretty accurate within the past couple weeks, not a year.
Yeah, because it's nice to have someone that's not you that's looking at this stuff. Because like if I'm presented with information, I can make pretty good decisions, but you got to get the information right. And then it's nice to have like a different set of eyes looking at the same stuff that you are to figure out different solutions.
Yeah, that never hurts to have more.
So whether
more
that's a
eyeballs.
partner or a, CPA or somebody, like looking at your financials is super important.
Yep, I agree. Should I even shoot this? I'm 2 for 2. I did the last paper and the drink.
You got to
all
go
in.
3 for 3. You can't stop at 2 for 2.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure, but I perform well under
trash
pressure.
it. You'd be hot right
I'm
now. You
ahead
guys
of you
remember when we
right now.
did trash it?
Yeah, that was fun.
You're ahead. You're still one behind, and I haven't shot.
That's true. That's true. I went backwards a lot, though.
You did. All right. So, just some actionable steps that people can take from, whether you want to go to 5 to 20 or 5 to 30, 5 to 50, 5 to 100, whatever it is, to not get stuck at that wall that that 80% of investors get stuck at. What do you think would be some practical takeaways that you could give to these people?
Yeah, I think the first thing is audit your time. So look at what you actually have time to do. What do you realistically have time to do? Because you may have 6 hours a day open, but like you want to see your kids, you want to see your family, you want to be able to do fun things. So realistically, what time aside can you carve to this, and be realistic about it, be disciplined about it, stick to this time, and then obviously you're going to make corrections based on what needs to be done with what you have time to actually do.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say earlier too is.
Oh, you remembered?
Yeah, I did remember. When you do that time audit, figure out where your time's going, and then also do processes and procedures. Go ahead and document those for each portion of the business that you're doing, so then when it's time to free up your time and hire and offload, they have a playbook that is like their training that they can go do. Otherwise, it's all in your head, and you can't teach somebody how to do it when it's all in your head.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a great song.
that is.
All right, next is identify your top bottleneck. Our bottleneck probably flows from one thing to another, but it could be capital, it could be deal flow, it could be the systems that we're talking about. I would say there's a big portion of our time where it was capital, both on both sides, the short-term money, and then when we went full-time in our W-2s were taken away, our long-term financing dried up for a little bit there. It took a while for banks to get back on board when we were full-time real estate investors. And then I would say currently it's deal flow. It's
For what we want to keep,
for what we want to keep as rentals. Yeah, there's just a lot less that makes sense out there for rentals. So we buy 25 houses a month still, but maybe only one of them works as a rental nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's just few and far between. So got to know your numbers, got to know them quickly, and when that deal does pop up that makes sense because they're still out there, you got to be able to jump on it and have the capital to do so, and have the time to be able to go look at it while you're not worried about managing tenants.
So yeah, and the time, and then that'll give you an idea what's going on in the business, and then figure out where the constraints are, and then work on those constraints. I like that one story I've said a couple of times, at least once maybe, that story. It's kind of famous of, I think I told you about Elon Musk and like a bunch of his engineers on like his private jet flying somewhere, and they're all like, we have this big issue, we can't figure it out. He's like, how long is it going to take to solve it? And they're like, probably 6 months. That was the bottleneck. And he literally turned the plane around. They went and locked themselves in the warehouse and solved it in 24 hours. So just, obviously that's a crazy story, and who knows if it's true or not. It doesn't sound out of the ordinary to me, but that's just, the biggest thing you take from that two things is just get done what needs to get done. But the thing that's the best metaphor for this is they knew the bottleneck and they figured it out.
Yeah, know your bottleneck. That's a good point. Next is build your power team, and this doesn't have to be W-2 or 1099 employees. Like it could be, your go-to general contractor, your go-to private lender, your go-to hard money lender, your go-to long-term financing lender. If you're doing fix and flips, your real estate agent that's selling them. Maybe you have some connections with real estate agents that are bringing you off-market properties. Your property management team is a big one. So build that team. Like I said, you don't have to hire it all out. You can outsource all this. Just make sure you include those expenses in your analysis.
Yep. Yeah, definitely start to just figure out what that team's going to look like, and again, do the hair pull-out method that I mentioned earlier if you need to.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is, I think, just commit to something. whatever it is, even if it's, not maybe the exact right thing, at least committing to something, spending 90 days focusing on it to try to move the needle in that specific area will pay dividends. It's better than doing nothing, not, as long as obviously you're not going the exact wrong direction, at least you're making progress.
Yeah, and here's what I would recommend to figure out what you're going to commit to is have a 5-year goal, which I know that seems like very far out there, but let's break it down. Have a 3-year goal, have a 1-year goal, and then have a goal every single month that helps you hit all of those goals. And document those and make sure you're hitting those every single month.
And the closer you get to the current time, the more detailed you are. Your 5-year goal is pretty vague. Your 3-year goal is probably a little more detailed.
Yep.
Your 1-year goal is probably pretty detailed, but
Yep.
then your monthly should be, this is exactly what I need to go do.
And what do I got to do each week, each
And that's
day
what we
to
do
go
in
get
our
that?
business
Yes.
to get to that next level. So it's again, this is a lot probably if you're like, I just want to buy rentals, but this is what you need if you want to do it the right way. And it's just part of it.
And sorry to say, it isn't for everybody.
Correct.
80% of people it's not for. So if you know this going in, I think it's going to set you up for a lot more success than someone who's like, oh, real estate,
Or
yay.
help you avoid doing 2 or 3 and quitting.
Yeah,
Might as well
exactly.
focus on something else.
So, this is what Sam and I have been through. This is what we've done. We've helped people go from 0 to 1 and buy their first rental. We've helped people go from 0 to 40. But we've helped people go from 5 to 20 as well. This is what we do, and we can help you guys too. If you're have any interest in that, let us know. Reach out. We got a great community that teaches people to do this every single day.
Yeah, in the show notes and description of the video, depending if you're watching or listening, there'll be a link to a free training that can help you. We don't collect your phone number or your email address. It's like just a way to show you a little bit more and see if you're interested, and then you make the call at what's next for you. So that's kind of what we got rocking.
Well, hopefully, you like this. Hopefully, you guys like this. If you could like this, comment, leave a review, share with a friend, it would certainly help us out. I don't know how many episodes we have now. It's
We're
probably
like 200,
close to 300.
Probably upper 200.
So
yeah.
we've been doing this a long time, and it's a lot of fun for us. But help us keep it going and share it with a friend.
Yep, for sure. The best thing you can do is
Was in.
Rick.
But I hit a TV.
He hit a TV. Share with a friend. We appreciate you, and we will see you on the next one.